Good morning, everybody. We're going to call this October 26, 2023 meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District Board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Chair Aquino?
Here.
Director Daniels? Director Daniels?
Brett, your audio's not working.
Director Desmond? Director Frost?
Here.
Director Guerra?
Here.
Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Here.
Director Laloy? Director Maple? Director Papineau? Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Singh Allen? Director Terry?
Here.
Director Vang?
I am here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Does the clerk have a message to read into the record?
Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov, participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line, and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable system. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will be repeated on Sunday, October 29th, 2023 at 12 p.m. on Channel 14.
Thank you. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item, please.
We have the consent calendar, items 1 through 4.
1 through 4?
1 through 6. I apologize. 1 through 6.
Thank you. Is there any member of the board, whether online or in person, that would like to?
Chair, I'll move the items on consent.
I have a quick question.
Okay. Who is that? Is that Vice Chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just a clarification on item number 4, the medical personnel on the hearing board. Do we know, is that person going off the board, so we're truly going to have a vacancy, or is he going to reapply? I was just curious how aggressive we need to be in our recruiting efforts, if you need our help.
We don't know yet whether he's going to reapply. In the past, he always has.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I see no one here. I see no one with their hands up other than the Vice Chair. Is there, we have a motion. Was there a second? I didn't. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Oh, actually, we need to do roll call.
Vice Chair Aquino?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Desmond? Director Frost?
Aye.
Director Guerra?
Aye.
Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
Director Laloy? Director Maple? Director Papineau? Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen? Director Terry?
Aye.
Director Vang?
Yes.
Consent passes.
Thank you. Next item, please.
The next item is the Air Pollution Control Officer presentation. I have Alberto Ayala on Zoom to give the presentation.
Dr. Ayala.
Good morning, Board, and thank you, Andrew, as you're bringing up the slides. I'm coming to you remotely from a meeting of all the air districts at our CAPCOA Fall Conference, so thank you for allowing me to be remote. Next slide, please. I have just a very few updates for you. The first one, as is customary, we like to share with the board the letters of support that we provide to our partners. In this particular case, this one went to SACOG for AB 350. They are basically requesting additional time to do the very important work associated with the community, sustainable community strategy that is required under AB 375. So we completely agree and support taking more time to do things to do things right. So we submitted this letter of support, and it's in your packet in case you have any questions. Next slide, please. The next one, again, is just a reminder. I'm hoping that you've seen the email from our clerk. Hopefully you have this on your calendar as a placeholder. But this is pretty exciting. It's a pretty unique occurrence in that we've never had a meeting of 4 air regional agencies in a joint board meeting setting. Obviously, the excuse is that Mr. Kennedy is the chair of 3 of the agencies, and that has given us impetus to come together and discuss some things that really cut across all 4 agencies. So that's going to be happening on November 9th. Again, we look forward to seeing you all. We are working on what we think is going to be a pretty meaningful agenda, some items to discuss of regional importance, particularly in the context of some of the things that we're seeing from the state and the federal government, obviously with respect to our collective priorities to get the region moving in a sustainable fashion. Next slide. I trust that by now you've seen the great news media coverage that we got from the launching of our first, what we're calling the e-mobility hub. Again, this is the first of 52 that we've identified are needed in the greater Sacramento County region. Stay tuned. The next one is coming to South Sacramento, so we'll send you details. But again, just wanted to share that this is one way that we as an agency can show what needs to happen in the region, working with partners from both private and public sectors. And if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We can take you out there. And again, it's work in progress. We want the next one to be even better and provide a better service to the community. But this is really a key element of our plans to transition the region to more sustainable transportation energy. So again, just wanted to share that with you, and thank you to those of you that have supported us and showed up for the event. Next slide. And then the last one, also lots of good news. I trust that you saw this in the Sacramento Bee and other news outlets. As you know, the IRA funding is rolling out, and one of those funding streams is coming out of the Department of Energy for what these are they're calling the hydrogen hubs, and they approved about 6 or 7 of them across the country, and California got one, as you can see here. And again, this is exciting for us because obviously it connects directly to some of the things that we want to see in the hydrogen space in our region. This is going to be administered by a consortium out of the UC Office of the President. The state has already organized a coalition, and we're at the table. So just wanted to alert you that this is again another exciting opportunity that is very complementary to some of the things that you've been hearing us talk about. And stay tuned. We'll bring you more information as some of those details roll out in terms of how this is going to translate to actual developments on the ground. So with this concludes my APCO report. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ayala. Is there anybody in chambers that has questions of Dr. Ayala at this time? Seeing none, I see no hands up. Is there anyone online? No hands are up. All right, thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item on the discussion calendar is item number 8, Community Air Protection South Sacramento Flooring Community Program Update. I have Janice Lamb Snyder here to give a presentation.
For some reason, I don't have the control.
Should say lecture.
Good morning, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. My name is Janice Lamb Snyder, and I am the program manager in the Monitoring, Planning, and Rules Division and staff lead for the Community Air Protection Program. So just, next slide, please. So in my presentation today, I'm just going to give a quick update on where we are with the Community Air Protection Program and a really pivotal point in the program that we wanted to share with you. So just as a quick refresher, the purpose of AB 617 program is really to identify community local air pollution impacts, and it's to reduce the emissions that has been identified, and one of the critical components of that is to invest state dollars to reduce these emissions and to improve the air quality in our communities. Next slide. So back in 2018, the South Sacramento Florin community was selected to be a community air monitoring plan community, and we have since then worked with the community to identify their local concerns, their monitoring needs, and we took those concerns and developed a community air monitoring plan to address them, to understand those better. And then since then, we have completed phase 1 and 2 of the monitoring plan. We are currently in phase 3. And you can see on the slide is a portable air monitoring laboratory, and that's located at the Fern Bacon Middle School. And that's that information that we're going to be collecting is going to be helping us determine what the local sources are going to be, and we're going to continue to monitor for progress as we implement strategies in the community to reduce these emissions. Next slide, please. So what have we learned so far? The PM 2.5 information that we've collected shows that the trends in the community has trended up and down with our regional monitors. And what is most notable right now is that the wildfire does have significant exposure on exposure to air pollution and to our communities. And what we also have learned is that wintertime is when we see the highest elevated air pollution in that community. Next slide, please. This chart here we have used to communicate the impacts of smoke from wildfires in our community, and where you can see on the graph that it can get to unhealthy levels for everybody during the wildfire impacts. And outside of that time, concentrations hover around good to moderate, but then again, more elevated concentrations during the winter months. We are currently analyzing the data that is coming in, and as we have more of that information, we'll be continuing to share that with the board and our community. Next slide, please. So what I want to emphasize for us today is that we have been a CAMP community, which is the Community Air Monitoring Plan community, for a long time, since 2018. And for many reasons, including the lack of funding from the state, we have not been able to transition to a CERP community. And a CERP community is Community Emission Reduction Plan community, and that really is to identify and implement the emission reduction strategies that are from the community, the ones that they desire, the ones that have the most impact. And that's really the crux of improving air pollution in those communities and ultimately their health. We are the last community of 19 to transition to this community, so it is really important that we're able to do that. Next slide, please. So just a few examples of how the state dollars have already begun reducing emissions in our region. The district has expended $7.5 million in incentives, and that came with reductions in diesel particulate matter, nitrogen oxides, as well as reactive organic compounds. And again, the really big part of reducing emissions in the community is to continue to invest in zero emission and exposure mitigation projects in these communities. Next slide, please. So as far as our transition to a SERP community in the South Sacramento Florin, for South Sacramento Florin, there are 4 key elements that is going to be critical in its success. And the first is going to be targeting strategies that are important to this community. We need adequate funding to ensure that we have a successful SERP, which means we are developing the SERP as well as being able to implement the SERP. Next is the district is going to be prioritizing South Sacramento Florin communities as well as other underserved communities in Sacramento for projects that are going to be under some of our other grants, like the Climate Protection Reduction Grant. And lastly, the strategies that, as we continue to work with the community on SERP strategies, a lot of these strategies are going to be refined, but a lot of them are also under local jurisdiction authority. And that's going to require a lot of support and partnerships from other jurisdictions. Next slide, please. And these are just a few examples of SERP strategies that have been implemented across the state and other communities, and also, what we have also heard from our communities through this past few years. Some of them is, having air filtration systems in schools and public spaces, increasing green spaces in the community, establishing vegetative barriers between the pollution source and where the residents live. And in addition to that, rerouting truck traffic. Next slide, please. So last slide here, as we transition from a camp to a SERP community, we're looking to recommend the South Sacramento Florin and have them transition in 2024. We will be needing this board's support and advocacy to receive the adequate funding that we need to make this transition. In addition to that, we are going to need your support as representatives from local jurisdictions, since a lot of the strategies that I showed in the last slide is going to be implemented by local authorities. And then last but not least, we need to continue to make investments in our community in whatever way we can so that we can continue to improve the air quality in these communities. With that, I conclude my presentation and we'll take any questions.
Thank you, Director Vang.
Thank you, Chair Kennedy. Thank you, Janice, so much. First, I just want to say thank you to you and Dr. Ayala, just really for all your hard work, especially working really closely with community members to develop the community air monitoring plan. So I just want to give kudos to you just for your heart and hustle. Chair Kennedy and I actually represent one of the AB 617 communities, and that is South Sacramento Florin. And I think many of you are also aware that South Sac Florin community is one of those communities that have been historically impacted and continues to be shaped by historical harms, resulting in the environmental exposure, and the reason why it is one of the AB 617 communities. I think we all know, like I've spoken to a lot of the members in the South Sacramento community that was involved with the camp, and while they were excited that we were able to complete the monitoring plan, right, the next step is how do we have a plan to reduce it? And so you can absolutely count on me to make sure that we're advocating at the state level, because I know that the funding for South Sacramento in particular, the state funding has remained flat. And so I do have a few questions just really around the advocacy piece, and really appreciate your call for board members, for this board, members of this board to to be fighting at the state level to draw down some of those dollars. And so just had a quick question about like, when is the next meeting? When will the decision around the funding be made? And just thinking about through some of that strategy, because I know we're competing statewide. And just wanted to have a conversation about that. If you're aware of like the next meeting, when are we looking in terms of timeline when CAR board will make a decision, and so that we could be prepared.
Yeah. There is a board meeting tonight on updating the blueprint, the AB 617 blueprint. I know that there's going to be some of our South Sac community members who are also going to be helping us advocate. The funding itself, I think, is going to be worked out, I think, sometime next year. And maybe Alberto, since you have the latest news, you might want to chime in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And first of all, thank you, Director Van, for your ongoing support. When we talk about advocacy, I think it really starts, as Janice alluded to, starting today, because ARB is going to convene at 4 p.m. today to hear an update on where AB 617 is statewide. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring you this item. But the advocacy really is just about the decisions that ARB needs to make. The good news is the state budget already has the funding in the state budget for implementation of our program, AB 617. So now it's just a matter of convincing ARB that the monies need to flow our way so that we can transition our community to a SERP. And just to be very clear on this point, we have identified a need of $5 million over the next 2 years to be able to make this happen. The $5 million is entirely consistent with what other 18 communities before us who have gotten support from the state have received. So we are well within the range of funding that is necessary. And the last thing I'll say is, in another set of good news, we had a good discussion last night amongst all the 6 air districts that are implementing AB 617, and we had consensus agreement that Sacramento needs to get the $5 million to support our transition. So again, I think what remains is for you and obviously Director Guerra, who's on the ARB board, to help us push to make sure that ARB makes the allocation that we're requesting.
Thanks, Dr. Ayala. Really, really appreciate that insight. And I know I have a public library board meeting this afternoon, but I'll do my best to actually make the meeting today. And maybe we'll follow up with you and staff on other strategies to draw down those dollars from the state. So thank you so much just for your hard work. And Janice, thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you.
Director Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just again wanted to thank the staff for their work on this, and the AB 617 steering committee for their engagement here on the ground. I think for our board here, for what does it mean for us? Because the money that was allocated in this time around didn't have a lot of strings tied to it. And while the intent was very clear that it was to bring SERPs together, when there isn't that specificity, then all of a sudden that becomes, what is it? Sometimes an interest to move money around where people see it fit other than what it was intended for. And so I think what's occurred here is you have other regions throughout the state who are looking at this pot of money, and as Sacramento region has faced other areas, whether it's Southern California or the Bay Area that want to tap into these resources, or well-intentioned, staff who think that the money could be used elsewhere. But it's critical that if we're not engaged because of intentionally the flexibility of this money, so that we can get it out faster into the communities, it could result in our region not receiving it. And why is it important for us, even though AB 617 is in Meadowview and whatnot, is that it supports our staff work that will, in essence, affect every part of our region. Mm-hmm. So when these zones were intended not to be just for one community, it's for us to learn and to understand best practices so we can execute at a macro scale for our region. And if we don't have those resources from the state because some other region takes it, then I I think we're at a loss there. So anyone's engagement is very welcomed. I've already expressed my frustration about it, and have talked to some folks about the need to make sure that our region is done right by the funding needed. So with that, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would hope that our local jurisdictions could engage in this as well.
Thank you, Director Guerra. Anyone else? Not seeing anybody. Not seeing anybody online with a raised hand. Is that your presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the receive and file. Next item, please.
The next item on the discussion calendar is item number 9, update on pending new national ambient air quality standards for annual PM 2.5 concentration. And Janice Lamb-Snyder is here to give another presentation.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning, Board. So this particular presentation will be to update the Board on a pending action that the Environmental Protection Agency is taking for the PM 2.5 National Ambient Air Quality Standard. Next slide, please. So just a quick recap on what we call the NAAQS. The Federal Clean Air Act requires that EPA set health-based standards for ambient air quality, and that's also known as National Ambient Air Quality Standards. EPA is supposed to be reviewing these standards every 5 years or so, and so this is a very routine process. Next slide. So EPA has regulated particulate matter since the early 1970s. And the reason for that is because there's been many health studies establishing the health impacts of PM when breathing in PM into our bodies. And because of that, EPA sets daily and annual average limits. Daily limits are also sometimes referred to as the 24-hour. And at this time, EPA is looking to propose a lower standard for the annual limit and keeping the daily limit as its existing standard. Next slide, please. So what does that mean for the district and for the region if they lower the standard? Well, what that really means is that they're lowering it from a 12 microgram to potentially a 10 or lower standard. And using the data that EPA has from 2019 to 2021, these are the areas that EPA has assessed is not going to be meeting the standard, and that includes Sacramento County. But this information does include wildfire days and information. So next slide, please. So since EPA's initial assessment, we have updated and looked at our data to include the 2022 data, which is likely what EPA will be using. This graph shows a trend line of concentration levels that has been decreasing since the 2000s. And we've made lots of progress since then, and we have since then attained the standard, the 12 microgram standard. This graph on the orange bar shows the range of 10 and 9 of what EPA is considering right now. And if we are to, if EPA is to set if they're to set the standard at 10, we would be meeting that standard. If they're to set it anything below 10, we would be in non-attainment. Next slide, please. So really, what does that mean for the region? If we were to be designated as non-attainment, then we would have to develop an air quality plan. And this particular proposal is at the White House right now, and we are anticipated to have a decision before this year's end. And when they have made that decision, then EPA will make a designation for regions for attainment status. And once they make that determination, then the regions who are in non-attainment is going to be required to develop a air quality plan within 18 months. With that, we will continue to keep the board apprised as EPA makes its final decision. With that, I'll conclude that presentation.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing no one punched in and not seeing any raised hands. All right, that too is a receive and file. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 10 on the discussion calendar, district headquarters relocation. I have Pat Smith on the line to give a presentation.
Thank you, Andrew. Good morning, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. My name is Pat Smith. I am the Administrative Services Program Manager with responsibility for our facility. And I'd like to give an update on staff's recommendation to relocate the district's headquarters. Next slide, please. So with the changing workplace, moving to a more hybrid work environment, we thought it makes sense. Let's look at our facilities and make some decisions about how to best utilize them. In doing so, we established a number of guiding principles. You can see them here. We want to make sure that we're spending our money wisely and using our resources wisely. So does it make sense for us to be in the landlord business? And we determined that probably no is the answer to that question. We want to make sure that we're engaging our stakeholders, you, the members of the board, the district's employees, super important to include them in the process and the discussions. And then we want to be smart about what we do, and we're certainly not experts in the world of real estate. So we have engaged with some outside experts who have provided us some guidance and helped us develop various different scenarios and assessments. Next slide, please. So a quick overview. Back in May of last year, we established an internal space planning committee, the thought being, we've got this space, a lot of us are teleworking part of the time now, and so how do we optimize the space? And so the planning committee came together. There were representatives of each of the different divisions throughout the district. They visited some other agencies to get some inspiration. I think it was SMUD, SACOG were a couple, Valley Vision, and they came back with some recommendations, and we had several discussions about that. And then our tenant, Wellspace Health, let us know that they would not be renewing their lease, and that was summer of last year. And so we sort of shifted our focus or expanded the question, if you will, to, does it make sense to remain here and make updates to the existing building? Or should we look outside of that and sort of expand that box? And so we started having some conversations with a local real estate expert last fall. And then, throughout the process, we've engaged with our employees and whatnot and had some conversations with the board. And in the spring of this year, we established, as with members of this board, an ad hoc headquarters facility committee, and met with that committee in early September of this year and received from that committee unanimous support of staff's recommendation to, rather than stay in place, seek a more suitable headquarters location. So next slide, please. In looking at alternatives, we wanted to make sure that we establish some requirements, or some priorities rather. Some of those priorities we mark those as these are required. So one of the things that was important is to right size our footprint. Do we really need 20,000 square feet if employees are teleworking a significant part of the time? So that was a big impetus for that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So that's important. Security, safety, the neighborhood's important. So we've got some requirements, and then we've got some nice to haves, visibility, security, the neighborhood. Are there amenities that can be walked to, that sort of thing? So next slide, please. And then we've got a plan. So what is the plan going forward? Well, we would do simultaneously, we would prepare the headquarters and list the existing building, market it for sale. And at the same time, we would begin to search for a more suitable headquarters, sized right for our staff, with the intent to not be a landlord anymore. So it could mean a purchase. It more likely means we would lease space. As we move forward, we'll continue to engage with this board and with the ad hoc committee, engage with our employees, make sure we've got open communications. And then once we sort of land on a new headquarters, and certainly involve the employees in planning and developing that space for future use. And we're sort of thinking, nobody knows for sure exactly how this will fall out, but we're shooting for early 2025 as our target date. So I am happy to take any questions that y'all might have.
Any questions at this time? Director Guerra.
Yeah, thank you. Just some thoughts. I don't know if the ad hoc committee had thought about, does it make in the long term? I know right now there's so much vacancy in the commercial market, but in the long term, to maintain the building, and I know we want to focus our issues on our principal work, but is there revenue options in the future rather than selling it? Or, I get the right sizing aspect of it, but I guess maybe I wanted to get some thoughts from any members of the committee about what's the long-term benefits.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. Yes, we did talk about that. We had a pretty lengthy discussion about that very subject. Knowing once you have an asset and you get rid of it, you don't have it anymore. And so, yeah, we did. And with a lot of input from Dr. Ayala, we came down to, for the long-term health of the organization, and with lease rates where they are, and just the amount of work that goes into owning and operating the building, which is, as you said, Director Guetta, accurately, it's off of our role, our mission, but yet we do dedicate a lot of resources to it for something that's not really fit within our mission very well. So at the end of the day, after those discussions, we came down to the board members, and please, I can't remember who was on the committee. I know Vice Chair was, but we felt that this was, even for the long-term fiscal impacts on the organization, the right place to land. I don't know if there's any other member of the committee that would like to chime in.
I can chime in a little bit because I also shared your concerns, Director Guerra, but I think no matter what, even if we were to buy a new space, the current space is not right for us. It's too big. And the fact that our tenant is leaving and we don't know if we can get somebody else to come in there, and just, carrying that additional space. So I think that part, we definitely know that this is not the right space for us, so we need to sell it. But in terms of, are we going to lease a new space, or if we found this diamond in the rough, this perfect space that we wanted to buy, I think that is still an option. But the biggest thing is the current space is no longer right for us.
Yeah. No. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions?
The last question relates to what kind of surveying we've done with our staff, and I only mention it just because I'm going through this with the having worked in the legislature, and I frankly think they did a poor job of communicating with staff about what their employee needs are versus because with the remote situation, great, but I think there is a level of attractiveness of when the space fits their work needs and their ability to want to come to a particular location.
And I appreciate that, and I also, even more so, I appreciate the work that Dr. Ayala and his staff did in employee outreach, and as you saw, even before there was a subcommittee or ad hoc committee of the board, employees were already fully engaged in providing input as what the needs are, what the desires are. You saw the need to have and the nice to have. That all came from input from employees. So I appreciate you asking that question, because I think that I was extremely impressed with the level of employee input in these decisions. I don't know if, yeah.
Good, great. Well, thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, that is a receiving file as well. At this point in the agenda, we can recess into closed session. We will come back into session as a board of one. And at this time, there's nothing to report out, correct, Counselor?
That's correct. No action was taken.
Okay, then we'll move on to our next item, which would be board ideas. I see none. I have none. AB 1234 reports, seeing none. We have public comment. Is there anyone from the public?
Sorry, there is no sound online from you guys.
The what?
Alberto, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, well, you missed my very intelligent comments, so I apologize for that. But as I said, there are no ideas, comments, or AB 1234, so we will go to public comment. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the board at this time?
No, Chair Kennedy, no public comment at this time.
All right, then. Thank you, everybody, for joining us online. We are adjourned.